I think that we have to come back for the prayers and mosque and the way we are, sometimes this segregation as to the spaces in the mosques. If we come back to the fundamentals, you will find something which is really interesting. The first one is at the center in Mecca. When we go to the pilgrimage, we pray together. So there is one moment where they are all praying together in the same place and in a place where here we are so close to the center that there is no walls, there is nothing, we pray in the same space. And we have also to ask ourselves how the Prophet of Islam was doing. And in fact, they were praying in the same space, in the same mosque. The men were in the front and the women behind, but for a very specific reason, is your gesture when you are praying are putting you in such a situation where, in fact, it could be a bit troubling for women having men looking at them from behind, because it's a question of modesty, it's a question of, and that's it. People in the same place, as long as you respect the modesty of each, gender, then that's it. So I think that we have to come back to the original teaching and example. Open place where we can pray together, not in the same lines, of course, but as I told you, to respect this kind of the gestures. The prayer is a very specific thing, which is a ritual, and to avoid distraction. Some people are saying, yes, but we have to be together on the same lines. I think it's not necessary, and the purpose is equality here is to get the message together and to be together in the same place. This is equality, but mixed is not the sign that we are equal. It has maybe more confusion and more distraction. First, about women and the role of women. Is it possible for a woman to be a preacher or to lead the prayer? First, there is something which was here from the very beginning. Yes, a woman can be an imam, and for all the school except the Hanafi school of law, there is something which is a woman can lead the prayer for women. This is not a problem. Can she be an imam or to preach and to be a Muslim scholar? No problem. I think that we have to be very cautious not to confuse the role of the imam with the role of the priest. The priest has other, authorities. And in Islam, these authorities are given to women to know more about Islam, to be a Muslim scholar. All this connected to giving advice to the community is not a problem in Islam. The first to do it was Aisha, the Prophet's wife. She was a Muslim scholar, and she was just giving the fatwa and the opinions that she had at that time. So we don't have this problem. Now, there is something which is specific, which is to preach men and to lead the prayer. To preach men, it's not a problem. We have women just preaching, knowing more than men, so they preach and they speak and they have the right to do this. Now, for women to be in front of the men and to lead the prayer, this is the only thing which is not. And once again, we come to the gestures that are. She will be in such a situation when the men behind her are not. So in this situation, it's not allowed. But in all the other situations, with all the other prerogatives, it's not a problem. So I don't think that we have to come, all the discussion which was around, Amina Wadud leading the prayer. I think that there is a great deal of confusion here, because what is behind is that we are promoting women's rights in that field. And I think that the right to be a scholar, to be a leader, to be a preacher are not challenged. Now, to only lead the prayer in front of men, I don't think that this is an issue, and it's creating more problems than solving them. And sometimes it pushes us to, we are regressing with this kind of discussion, and it's useless.
There are lots of differentiations when it comes to worship and ritual, mainly for the way worship was recognized, mainly the way that worship continued to be reflected mainly through men, and Islamic congregational worship is largely male worship. But I think what's erroneous here is to assume that if men and women worship in the same way, then somehow equality has been established. And I think that the recent example we've had of female congregations led by female imams as somehow a giant step in the road to female emancipation it's just kind of buying into all the assumptions that the West has made of Muslim societies. The real issues of equality are not about, ritual differences. Ritual differences are there for all sorts of reasons, and they can be contested or they can just be obeyed because they're part of worship. The real issues of society are really women who are denied freedom and access to expressing themselves. Why does that continue to be the basis of so many Muslim societies? And I think where women are expressing themselves and where women are raising issues, the fact that these very women are then denounced in society, not just by men but also by other women, that is far more dangerous and far bigger an issue than, we've attained equality because somebody decided they wanted to take their headscarf off and go into the mosque with a man. I think these are just selling into the Western perceptions of what female equality should be about. We're a long way away from that because the issues in Muslim countries, the issues of emancipation and the issues of self-expression are very different. The West has kind of left those issues. The Western feminism and Western emancipation are talking about different things. The issues may be the same, but they're still talking on different things because they've kind of removed themselves from those assumptions.